Parshat Tetzaveh begins with a very interesting mitzvah, one that we're all familiar with, particularly because we have a reminder of it over the Aron Kodesh and many shuls and their Tamid. The Chumash begins by telling us, "Now you shall command the children of Israel that they shall take for you pure pressed olive oil for illumination to kindle the lamp continually. In the tent of meeting outside the partition that is near the testimonial tablets, Aaron and his sons shall arrange it from evening until morning before Hashem, an eternal decree for the generation from the children of Israel." In this halacha of setting up the lights and lighting the lights, I'd like to focus the Mirz Hashem on one phrase. And that phrase is describing the oil. It first describes the oil as shemen zayit zach. It has to be pure olive oil. And then it describes it as katit lamaor. It has to be pressed olive oil for illumination. What is katit lamaor about? So Rashi, the Artsco Stone Chumash, quotes in source 2, only oil for lighting had to be pressed rather than crushed, because this oil had to be absolutely pure without olive particles or sediments. Even though those impurities could be filtered out later on, it was irrelevant. And the Mishnah describes, Chazal described for us, how they would take the olives, and there was like a 3-tier process on how to get the oil out of the olive. So if you just hold an olive in your hand, nothing's going to come out. So the first step was to take a mortar, and pestle, and to crush the olive oil, to bang it. Whatever oil that came out, those drops, which didn't have any particles from the olive itself, that was used for the menorah. Then they would bang it with a beam, they would put it into the grindstone. That oil was used for menachos, right? We talk about in our davening, sola mincha belulav hashemen, how the sola and how the flour was mixed with oil. That oil was the oil which had the sediments in it. It was a different oil than the oil from the menorah. And the question I'd like to ask today is a very basic question, and obviously there's a lot more answers than we're going to offer. But to get some type of insight of what is the significance, what is the symbolism, what lessons do we learn for our lives, because as we've learned for many years already together, Baruch Hashem, learning the Torah is eternal, it's nitzchi. So when we read something that the menorah light, the oil has to be katit lamaor, it has to be speaking to us as well. What lesson do we derive for our lives from the fact that the oil went through this process first of crushing it in order to get out those first drops of oil before putting it into the grindstone? And the second question I'd like to Mirz Hashem deal with today is, we know that this Shabbos is not only Parshat Tetzaveh, it's also Shabbos Zachor, the second of the 4 special Parshios. Purim will be the following week, right? Mirz Hashem Wednesday night, Thursday, Yerushalayim, Yer Kodesh, Thursday night, Friday, Shushan Purim. And the Shabbos before Purim is Shabbos Zachor, where we're commanded, special Kriyas Torah, right? It's a mitzvah from the Torah to hear this, men, women, of the section from end of Parshat Tetzaveh, remembering what Amalek did for us. And the question we need to ask there is the same question. How does this mitzvah, Mechias Amalek, Zechiras Amalek, remembering Amalek, how does it affect my life? What does that mean for me? How can we tap into this inyan of Shabbos Zachor? That's where I'd like to Mirz Hashem focus it on today. And hopefully we'll come away with mahalach, an approach where the two questions are really going to intersect very nicely. So just to get a sense of the idea of the shemen zayit zach, why the oil had to be this pure olive oil, because logically it would make more sense. Just to bang out this oil was an arduous process. You have to take olives, bang them, and then it'd be much easier to take the whole basket of olives, just put them into a grinder, and then, okay, so they're particles, they're sediment, so you sift it out. Why was it necessary that we go through the process where I don't want any particles, I don't want any sediment, I just want to crush and get those katit lamor, those freshly pressed oil without anything else but oil? Why is it necessary that this should be the process? So just to get a sense, I'd like to offer 2 ideas before entering into the 2 insights that I really like to focus in on, Mirz Hashem. The first is Drash Moshe Moshe Feinstein Zatzal in source number 3, where he says the menorah represents obviously the Chachmas HaTorah, the wisdom of Torah. That's a very famous idea. And he says the olive oil represents the manhig, the leader, the one who teaches Torah. And he says, and that the menorah can never have sediments, and this is to teach us that one who is the leader, this is a model for a manhi, that what he does has to be above board. Not that what he does is he knows correct, but he then has to explain his actions to others. That would be the idea of having the sediments and then sifting them out, filtering them out. No. The manhig has to live a type of life that's above board. That his